Hello everyone, welcome back to the VR League here live from Cologne, Germany, brought to you by Intel. I'm Jason Kaplan and I'm back this week. I have returned. Renee figured out, well, they didn't want Renee anymore. They decided to pick up someone more handsome, a worse caster, but more handsome and obviously taller, as you can see our height discrepancy on stage. But I'm joined by Blue. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to jump back in and cast some more Echo Arena action for today's matches.
I mean, because speaking of that, we've been doing a ton of Onward over at the VR Master League. We'll be doing actually some more Onward next week. But Echo Arena, it's good to get back to our roots where we got to do the UK Invitational that happened back in June, July, and June, but June was Onward. I'm great to see, actually really curious to see what teams are going to be breaking through to the top of the bracket in this week's tournament, because this is the last chance qualifier. You get through this one, you're into the regional qualifier coming up in a few weeks' time, and then the top two teams from each region will be going over to Oculus Connect 5 in September.
Yeah, I think today overall is going to be really interesting because normally we have these top European teams that are going to be in contention, such as like when we've been broadcasting the stage finals that we had last Sunday. But today's going to be different because we won't have those teams. The teams that have already qualified and already made it into the regionals are not going to be participating in this last chance qualifier. So it's open season there. It's very much an open bracket to see who comes out on top of it.
Yeah, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, just last week you were casting the stage 3 finals. We can take a look at what happened in that one because I'm assuming it was a hectic and crazy day of games. And we can, obviously do a quick little recap, or you can kind of fill me in on what went down in that tournament.
I mean, overall, we saw, overall out of that one, I think we were seeing the change-ups that I hadn't noticed until this stream, actually. We saw a lot of roster changes that had gone on in the European region. Affenterra specifically moving over to Team Gravity, which has now made that roster very, very powerful, and they very much showed it in their skills in that match, taking themselves an easy path through the upper bracket, managing to swiftly push their way through into the grand finals, where they even had the repeat victory versus Aftershock after taking them down in the upper bracket finals. They did the same exact thing in the grand finals, where they were able to take them down there too. So it is seeming like it may not necessarily be Blast that's our #1 contending European team anymore, as they actually got knocked out relatively early in the lower bracket, and instead we have a new team that's kind of come up here, and Team Gravity's taken the mantle, and of course the stage 3 finals, as they ended up winning it and taking home the 900 euros, if I remember correctly, that comes with the first place out of that event.
And I guess you get to see the power of Affenterra actually coming into that one, because he was on Blast, and that was the team we saw be able to challenge out against Clips in the UK Invitational that we had just a month back. But you can see, again, the process coming through to this. This isn't like a weak thing that's happened. It's something that's been going on for a long time with the Go Forest, with the ladders, and of course the cups we've had. I think you and I, if I'm not mistaken, did cover one of the stage finals, but that was a North America version of it. But obviously you played the stage finals, the top 2 teams from that, and then the top 2 teams for the last chance qualifier, which is happening today, get through into the respective regional world finals. We'll be battling it out for those 2 spots to get through to Oculus Connect 5 on September 26th and 27th. It's going to be exciting to see where the last 2 teams, as we finally move into like the later half of this entire league and what it's been kind of coming into. And that's the prize pool, Blue. That's a lot of money on the line here for Oculus Connect.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be building up to, is $30,000 for our first place team to take. And it's just making it to the event.
Like graphics right, it's 10,000 because we're keeping the other 20,000. So.
That's, yeah, I remember that as well. But just getting to the event even will get you 7,500. So there's a lot of money on the line, and we're getting very close to it with the last chance qualifier coming through and the regionals happening in just a couple of weeks' time. We're going to be deciding some of that money probably by the end of the month.
Yeah, and to be fair, let's take a look at actually the bracket we have today, because only those 2 teams will be moving through. We'll be covering 5 matches for you. It'll all be best of 3. We'll be doing one of the semifinals. We're doing one of the loser bracket, round 4, I believe it's called. We'll be doing the winner bracket grand final, or sorry, winner bracket final, then moving into the loser bracket final, followed up with the grand final. Now, the 2 teams that make it through, if you win the winner bracket final or the loser bracket final, you're guaranteed into the regionals. However, you have to play one more match to help determine seeding coming into that event. You can see there, Kairos versus Team Telepathy. That'll be the first match we'll be bringing you today. Unfortunately, not going to be watching Leftovers versus Smash Dash. But I have a feeling we might get, or actually going to see one of those teams later on today. And of course, the losers of those initial games will be going down to the lower half of the loser bracket to the respective sides to either play Ducks Quack or Bow Tie Boys.
Yeah, and we've seen those 2 push through, so we're going to see how they are able to face off. Like I said before, it's not necessarily the top dogs that we're going to be watching today. It's the stragglers, so to speak, that have been unable to qualify in the recent stage finals, or were not able to even qualify for a stage final, and are now going to get their chance in an open qualifier to try and qualify for a regional event.
Or even kind of a resurgence of teams. Like, for instance, if your roster did break down part of the way through, there's a lot of players, I guarantee, in these teams that have a lot of experience. It's just them finding other people who did not qualify already or who have not had the chance to play this far through. to give them a second chance to make it through into the regionals. There's actually potential for upsets. I think in Europe, there's definitely a higher potential than in North America. I think Eclipse has pretty much sold their way through into Oculus Connect yet again to defend their titles, but 11.5 as well, is going to be there participating in that one potentially. Can get knocked out of the ranks if the time does come. But Kairos versus Team Telepathy, that'll be our first match here. It's be a best of 3. I'm not sure if actually the teams are ready just yet. But as you're saying, we're not expecting like the cream of the crop, the best of the best in this tournament, since it is a last chance. It's basically the bottom of the barrel of the teams trying to get through last second. But at that same kind of rate, you can expect some close games. Like every goal you make can be that one step closer to getting through. Yeah,
very much so. It's like I was saying before, every game today is going to be a bit of a mystery in my eyes because we haven't seen most of these rosters play before, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, as we saw back at the regional finals. I think we have like more teams jumping back in that were unable to qualify last weekend and are going to try it one more time. But besides that, this is a lot of very new rosters, a lot of very new teams that are coming into the fold, kind of coming out of the woodwork or were unable to qualify previously, that are going to get really their one and only shot to try and make it through.
And if you guys actually haven't really tuned into the VR League before, this is something that goes on with multiple games. We have Sprint Vector in there as well. They've all been competing throughout the year to have their chance to get to Oculus Connect. And if you're interested in actually getting involved in this, maybe not Echo Arena this year, since unfortunately we're pretty much done. This is like the deadline as we're into this last chance qualifier. Just head over to vr.eslgaming.com and you can find all the information there if you do want to participate. But Blue, I think, obviously there's a lot of people out there who know what Echo Arena is about. But I feel like we should give a quick little shout to people who don't know much about the game and kind of what it is and what you have to do to win in the game.
Yeah, so the game's initial concept is very simple. 3 versus 3, there's a disc in the middle. You have to score a disc in the opposing team's goal. But obviously it gets a lot more complex from there because the game takes place in 0 gravity. And that opens the woodwork up for a whole lot of fun because you can have the ability to slingshot off of players using that 0 gravity. There's floating islands distributed all across the arena that you can launch yourself off of to get additional speed. All these things you can play off of. You have the capability to stun players by punching them in the head. They can block you by bringing their hands up. So
punch them in the knee to stun them. You got to punch them in the face.
You got to do some damage to them. They're robots. You have to hit them in
Skyrim them.
You got to hit them in the CPU, or I don't know what would stun a robot, but
probably the CPU. Yeah, hit them right in the processor, right where it hurts.
I think the RAM might be a better spot though, because then they can't remember anything. They're gonna wake up a few seconds later. What happened? My memory's been emptied out.
Computer amnesia. Memory's been emptied out. That was
Is that a thing?
I think it might be now. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Kairos up against Telepathy. Now, obviously, we can see the rosters online, but we're not 100% sure that will be the names of the players in game. So we're kind of obviously avoid that kind of aspect of it. But Martin III, he's a player on one of the teams, on Kairos, and we've seen him quite a few times. I can't actually remember the team off the top of my head, but I'm going to look that up in just a second. But he's an accomplished player. And it definitely has a chance to... Actually, no, he was on Gravity, wasn't he? He had to have been on Gravity.
He was, I think.
Yeah, and then he got replaced by Offenterra, most likely then. So that kind of makes sense to what happened.
So this is, I'm going to assume, his attempt to try and reform a new roster and get back into the fold. And we're going to have to see how well that works. So they made it this far with good straights. Now we are going to see if they can take down Team Telepathy. This is an upper bracket match, folks. So the loser of this one is not going to be knocked out of it just yet. The winner will get to move forward into the upper bracket final. There's quite a big advantage to be won from that match. Initial start gives control of the disc to Kairos, but a pass, or an attempted score, I should say, puts it back into the hands of Team Telepathy. As now Ducky is going to clear it past the midfield.
Looks like Middleman's going to be the person sitting as the anchor for Kairos, who's going to be sitting back towards the goal. He's going to bait in a player. It's going to be Ducky to try to get aggressive, and we'll clear it over to Martin III. Sport that number 3 score, number 3 number jersey, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if robots wear jerseys.
They do in this game. So we'll see again a loose disc as Ducky unfortunately loses possession. He's got a teammate swing it out though, so he should be able to pick it back up again. But no, it's actually going to be Kairos that retrieves now, specifically Twang Pants. We'll send it back through the midfield. And look at this, just a nice little slingshot combo. Telepathy does try to race back to the other side, but they're about 2 seconds too late to try and stop that goal. So Kairos will score early with a 3-pointer for themselves, getting them on the board without 50 seconds taken off the clock in the process.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you guys are new to Echo Arena, 3 points are really important. There's obviously like a 3-point bubble you're going to see on the screen, which is something you have to be outside of, just like the 3-point line in basketball to get the 3 points on the board. And of course, the clock does stop whenever you do score. But something that we did also see for Kairos, that's probably the most important aspect of the game, is these regrabs, is being able to stick with a teammate, boost off of them to get around the map, or the arena, I guess, a lot quicker. In the meantime, that bounce going to come through, and they actually score on themselves. Okay.
So that
I hate to
was
see that happen.
So that was a very nice shot. I missed who it was from Team Telepathy because it ended up technically being an own goal from Martin III there. But Team Telepathy, whoever it was that attempted the goal, had a very accurate shot. And that's what that back diamond is behind the goal. If you bank it off the darker parts of that diamond shape, then it will more than likely end up bouncing into the goal. And that's exactly what we saw happen there. So very good shot from Team Telepathy. Unfortunately, because someone from Kairos tapped it, though, it does bring it down to a 2-pointer. This launch is more than likely going to be nullified, by the way. Someone from Kairos disconnected, so we are going to have to reset it really quickly. But we will keep the same scores and more than likely the time to continue on with the match in just a second as soon as we get Martin III back in the game from Kairos there.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what happens with that one. I guess both teams are agreeing to drag that one, or to not drag it out, but wait for him to reconnect in. I don't know how it works on the clock.
It should. So normally,
hopefully we get the replay.
Normally, what they can do is just match medic it, sort of, back to a certain score because they can reset it, and then they just wait down the clock and score at relatively the same time that the last goal was scored, and then just continue play from that point forward. And normally, it's maybe like a second or two off from the actual original time, but it should be close enough, and that's generally accepted rule set that most players go by.
That does make sense during the UK Invitational when we did have to fill for a little bit of time waiting for the clock to come down 3 minutes, as we talked about. Well, luckily this time, or that time, we didn't talk about tank noises and how a machine gun sounds.
Yeah, we kept it a little bit more on topic there, I think.
I can't remember what machine gun sounds like, Blue.
Yeah.
Actually, totally not expecting you to do that. Sorry, that was from the Onward shows that we were doing. And I believe actually next week we're going to have 2 of those as well towards the later half of that one, as we're moving into basically their own Oculus Connect qualifiers as well, basically their regionals at the same time. So
those are going to be going on August 24th and 26th, guys, if you're interested in
got the dates.
Finding out more on that. I think you can actually find the info over on the VR League website, which once again is vr.eslgaming.com. So you go ahead over there and check it out. But if you don't feel like it, just feel free to come back here on August 24th and 26th, where we will be covering that action for
If you
Onward.
don't feel like going to a web page that you're already watching us on a web page from, then you should probably reevaluate your life.
Some people have got a plate of food in front of them. They don't want to touch their keyboard. They don't want to get it dirty, They just want to stay where they are on the internet. It's perfectly fine. You can stay right there and continue eating that Chipotle or whatever it is you're eating right now.
We're in Europe, so probably not Chipotle.
Well, no, everyone watching is from Europe.
It's true. That is true. So just get information that we should be hopping into the match momentarily. But, one thing I guess we can kind of talk about is what we did see. If you guys missed it at the UK Invitational we had back in July, because that was our first real taste it was my first real taste at Echo Arena in an offline environment. And we had to see how much it took out of the players, exhaustion-wise, physically, to play that game. Seeing Simeon or Affentair just be dripping with sweat. Honestly, they were, because of how hard it is actually of a game to play and how much you have to move.
And then Affentair hugged us after.
I still am taking showers trying to get rid of that smell.
He knows what he did.
That big, burly German man. But no, it was good times. And I'm hoping that we get to, be there again for Oculus Connect, get to meet up with some of the players, because obviously, not everyone can connect, get it? Can qualify. Totally whiffed that one. I just got back from the US yesterday, so I'm a little bit jet lagged right now.
We'll give you a free pass for that one.
I'm going to give you a disclaimer. I am jet lagged. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, back into this one. I think Team Telepathy, you're going to get a score a quick 2 points.
Yeah.
And that should just get a little nice reset for us.
Just about getting it. I think it's about 20 seconds away from scoring it. So these guys are going to float around for a few seconds, and then they will sink it in a moment. There you go.
Now.
No, I think it was a little more time.
Now.
10 seconds or so. Even Ducky's.
I'm pretty sure there was 4 minutes left.
Ducky wants to do it.
That's fine. There you go. That's the only way I can score. Look at him. He's celebrating. Yeah, I did it.
He was really bracing himself for that. You see, he had to wind it up a few times for he had the courage to actually put it in there.
All right. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Back into the game. Everything has been sorted. Kairos up 3-2 against Team Telepathy as we move into the next phase, as Kairos will have the initial control of the disc. And we've seen some teams, for instance, I think it was Blast, just move around so fast. Lone Gecko and Boop, they like to get super aggressive and just charge straight to the disc every single time that they were able to. In the meantime, looks like Team Telepathy is not going to be going that kind of route. Again, using the regrabs off their teammates to get back here in time to help Infinity to defend.
Ducky trying to move back in again. There's a lot of interference being run by Kairos right now, however. Let's make it a bit more difficult. And we can see a great example of that interference right there as Ducky gets stunned out, letting Middleman move in for the pickup instead. He's going to try to wrap it back around, gets the pass over to Twang Pants, who's now moving in for the goal, but it will be unsuccessful. It's blocked by Team Telepathy, and they'll try to go for the clear, but no, once again, it's picked up by Kairos, sent back flying the other direction. Right now, Martin III has it. A pass over towards Middleman once again gets them closer, and now inside of the 2-point bubble, Twang Pants will sink the actual goal, securing a 2-pointer for Kairos and putting them up to 5 overall in the game. Still with 3 minutes remaining on the clock.
Yeah, again, movement. You're seeing how superior I think that Kairos are, being able to pass around, be able to pass correctly, and even when the disc gets out of their hands, they're a lot quicker to retrieve than Team Telepathy, and that's something that's going to hurt them over the course of this match, I feel like. So they're going to need to really step up in those situations, and hopefully for their sake, fix any movement lack of skill that they do have. Because the only 2 points they do have technically was their own goal from Kairos, so it's not like those 2 points were technically earned. But they're gonna have another chance here, as the pass Portuguese will miss. Affinity's be able to secure it yet again. Pass it up to Ramus, and Ramus is gonna go for the shot here. But there's 3 people to defend it. He's not gonna have a clear shot at all.
Got the float going on to the ceiling, tries to send it way down to the bottom of the arena. Will not work out too well. Ducky, thankfully, is nearby, however, to pick it up. Panic blocks a little bit there after he gets the pass off to Ramus, and Ramus will be the one to secure it as there's an immediate response from Telepathy. Only a 2-pointer, though, so they unfortunately have not re-grasped the lead or tied against Kairos just yet, but with one more, they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, Middleman, he actually got punched when he was trying to defend, so a great job by Telepathy, as you mentioned before, able to stun out the enemies if you do punch him in the CPU. In the head, in our terms,
right in the
our human
factory
terms.
Reset button.
It only takes a second. That's actually, I wish I had a PC that only took a second to restart. That would be pretty crazy. But again, yeah, that's what happens when you get your other defenders a little bit too far forward, trying to contest the disc. And the defender gets punched, and a quick, easy goal. And look at this aggression. Twang Pants is just juking. Ducky just can't keep up.
Nicely done there by Twang Pants. Good movement coming out from him. Him and a teammate, though. Ducky will try to take control of the disc, but once again, will be unsuccessful. Kairos are doing a great job of getting the run around here, around Team Telepathy. There's another pass from Twang over to Middleman. Back over to Martin now to try to pick it up, but it's a missed pass, a loose disc temporarily. Thankfully, Kairos works quickly to get that back under their possession, but another bit of a whiff pass here is going to let Ducky move in and try to run some interference. Middleman's got it for now. Quickly panic clears it, though, into the hands of Twang. In the meantime, he's going to close the gap between himself and the goal. Middleman gets the pass again, and then it's secured by him. Secure an additional 2 points now for Kairos, up to 7.
You're saying, missed passes. I think they're missed catches, actually. I think the pass is directly to them, but somehow, like, they got butterfingers or something going on. I don't think, maybe their hands are sweaty. Do robots sweat? I don't think they sweat.
No.
Yeah, I don't think they sweat.
No, they don't.
So, yeah, no excuse then for these robots. But yeah, obviously catching is very difficult to do, especially when you're under pressure like they were, with how aggressive they were being up into the defender's side. Any missed pass could technically be a score against you if they're able to grab it and clear it in time. 82 is going to be by himself, Middleman up against 2. Finally, the rest of his teammates, Martin III and Twang Pants, able to get back here in time, again with those regrabs.
It's going to be Team Telepathy swarming the disc, though. They quickly pick it up. Very, very panicked. Clear sends it close to Kairos' goal, but also right into the hands of Twang, who also tries to pass it, but will be unsuccessful. Infinity receives a quick pass, sinks it in. That's a 3-pointer for Telepathy, and with that, they've now tied it up at 7-7. We only have 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining in the round.
I was almost like sure Middleman was going to be able to fully clear that disc back out when he just got the disc handed to him by his opponents. And yet, a really good interception, really good punching as well, and kind of using the aggression and I guess the cockiness out of Kairos to Team Telepathy's advantage, able to just move right past them with the regrabs and get a quick, easy 3 points. All tied, like you said, 7 apiece. And Kairos, who to me should be the team to favor in this matchup, is starting to fall apart here. That pass is going to be thrown a little bit wide and picked up by Team Telepathy, as now they're on the attack. It's going to be one man to defend here. It will be Middleman, so he's trying to get some teammates here to help out, but look at that pressure coming through.
Kairos originally had some good clears going on here, but they've been struggling to maintain possession besides that. And now once more, while they will launch it successfully over to the side of Team Telepathy, not really seeing a whole lot of signs of them racing over to try and score a goal, but that's going to change right now. Martin III Perfect timing on that one. Just flies in and knocks out the Telepathy goalie, who would have otherwise had a pretty easy clear. All of a sudden, it turns into a very easy 2-pointer for Kairos as they score again and grab back their lead.
Again, so important to see how regrabbing and skirmishing can affect a team. Kairos was able to I don't even know what I want to call it, out-brawl Team Telepathy on their own side of the arena. And once they got the stuns off, there's just a quick regrab to get back there. And I think the communication maybe wasn't there to tell the guy defending, hey, there's two people coming right at you. Get it clear immediately as you pick up the disc. You got punched up here. They left the disc behind.
Oh, no. And that is going to turn into a very, very quick 2-pointer for Kairos. They don't shoot it outside of the bubble for a 3-pointer, as obviously things are a little bit crazed there. But a massive mistake from Team Telepathy is going to cost them dearly now. As well, okay, they'll get another run at it right here. They've just widened the gap even more so, allowing Kairos to push ahead further.
Yeah, 4-point difference. That's at least a 2-score game. And with 42 seconds left, time is starting to run thin. You can see Infinity there had 3 points, had 6 stuns. But that really doesn't matter if you guys don't grab the disc when you first launch. This time they will get it. Infinity will secure it, pass it directly over to Ducky. He's looking to get aggressive here, but he's got people hot on his heels. Twang Pants comes in. Middleman's still sitting back for his team. And I think it's time. It's slipping away. 28 seconds left to go. They have to score fast.
Now it's going to be Ramus holding on right now. The punch against him, however, allows Kairos to swing in. Successful defense put up by Twang now as he's going to clear it back up through midfield. And it looks like the 2-man team, a great launch control, sends them right inside of Team Telepathy's own goal zone and secures yet another 2-pointer for Kairos. And that will pretty much seal the deal for the opening round here. 13 seconds. You now need 2, if not 3 goals on Team Telepathy's side. Chances of them getting back into this round are pretty much impossible at this point.
Yeah, I'd agree, 100%. It's got to be impossible. Like, even if they do get the disc and throw it right away, the travel time alone will just prevent them from having any sort of chance. And even if they do score, Kairos will start out with the disc, and then they can just drag out the time. So Team Telepathy, unfortunately, going to be down 0-1 in the series off the bat.
Just about winding down these last couple of seconds here into the 5-second range now, and you can see Kairos playing around with it a bit. Timer will be expiring, though, and with that, Kairos takes control of the opening round. 13-7 is the final score, and they now go up 1-0. As you can see at the top left, guys, this is a best of 3, so we'll be playing at least one more round. If Kairos takes it, it's all over, and they move forward further into the upper bracket, knocking Team Telepathy down, but we can still have a 3rd round as well. So that was, up until the end, actually relatively close. Team Telepathy was doing a great job of keeping the pressure on the Kairos. Unfortunately, they kind of lost the scent at the end, and Kairos was allowed to do that slingshot, 2 to 3 times in a row, which allowed for some pretty easy scores for them, not to mention that missed disc grab at the beginning of one of the rounds too. Really kind of screwed the guys on Team Telepathy over a bit.
Don't hold back, Lou. Tell me how you really feel about that. I mean, you're right. And I think, in general, Kairos had the better movement. Team Telepathy, I think, though, did start to wake up. It wasn't like it was a constant one-sided game against them. They did have moments where they started to shine. Yes, the first 2 points they did get on the board weren't even theirs, technically, because they didn't score them. But they did wake up, and they were able to outmaneuver their opponents, especially Middleman getting punched in the goal from an enemy, obviously an opponent, to allow a score to come through. That kind of communication is very hard to pull off. A lot of teams actually struggle with that, even that we saw in the UK Invitational. So let's see if they can maybe step up a little bit more here as we get into our 2nd round. Kairos, one more round away from getting through to basically their final game. It would be the winner bracket final, and if you win that, you're through to the regional qualifier.
Ducky's got the pickup right now. He will send a launch over, but it's going to miss. And we'll go into the hands of Middleman instead. He gets himself into an immediate duel after clearing the disc. Twang Pants with the pickup, but sends it into the hands of Infinity from Telepathy as the disc will change hands once again. It's going to be a bit rough to get it past his midpoint, though. You can see Kairos are putting a lot of pressure on Team Telepathy's 3-man setup right now as they try to move in aggressively against Kairos. So once more, as a result of that pressure, Team Telepathy will lose possession. Kairos with a quick clear. They're going to race to the other side. There is someone in the midst here from Kairos, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to find too much effectiveness, and Telepathy will once again send it back to the other side.
In the meantime, Kairos picking up the disc here, looking for the re-clear. They will be able to throw it actually really far away. And keep in mind, not only did he clear it, he also cleared it in direction away from Infinity because he was waiting in midfield to secure that one. So he actually gets more time for Twang Pants to be thrown down the arena, trying to pick up this disc somehow.
It's going to be potential trouble here for Middleman, but I'm not sure what happened. The disc there gets sent loose. Ducky picks it up. We do see Twang moving in, gets a really quick stun off. He's now got good possession. No one to pass it to, however, so has to quickly clear it, bounce it over as close to the goal as, in fact, he almost manages to just score it right there. A little bit too high, though, to get the proper bounce to go inside. So once again, loose possession. This is becoming a very, very long volley between the two teams. Telepathy sends it over into Kairos territory, but once more, Martin III is there almost immediately to send it back down the middle and over towards Team Telepathy's goal. And look at this, it's an open goal right now. No sign of anyone moving in to stop it, so it will finally be an opening two-pointer scored by Kairos. Took the first minute and a half off the clock in the process.
Is it bad when I see someone in the game score immediately when no one's near them? It makes me sad because you have so much room for BM there to just sit there and just ding it against the sides, the rim constantly, and just trying to bait them in and then score to take extra time off and to just get in their heads. Does that make me a bad person?
No, I'd like to see it once in a while too, but the community is very nice, so yeah. I think BM is pretty heavily discouraged.
I would do it. I would probably do a lot of
do it to get in their head more than anything. Yeah.
I would do like a lot of celebrating dances if I ever scored. So I probably never end up dancing because I couldn't score. Anyways, the disc being thrown down. Ducky looking to pick this one up. They do have all three men pushed forward. No one to sit back to act as that anchor point to actually use more importantly as a pivot point to toss around. Shot comes in. Infinity's going to be blocked out though by the pressure coming in. Twang Pan's going to actually go for the clear. They're going to try to re-grab across the map.
That might be in right there. Oh, a little bit off the diamond, so it won't go in. And actually, Infinity gets the grab. It's not set out in the open. Oh my goodness! Floating so close to the goal for so long, and eventually Martin III flies in to sink it, securing a second goal for Kairos.
So close and yet so far for Telepathy. A really good defense coming in there, but Kairos just had too many people there to hold that against him, not to mention the people in the right place at the right time. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and Kairos are up 4-0. And basically all they need to do is just hold on for that next 3 minutes of time, and they're getting through to the winner bracket final. And the winner of that match will go through into their regional qualifiers.
From a strategical perspective right now, Kairos are probably going to still want to look for at least one more goal. If they can find that, however, without any response from Telepathy's side, then they can switch to a very defensive play style and just fully focus on stopping Telepathy from scoring. And okay, if they get an opportunity to score, they'll go for it. A little bit of chaos happening there at the midfield, though, as the disc goes back and forth. But in a 1v2, a player from Kairos manages to clear it, sending it into Telepathy territory. Bounces back a little bit, though. So into the hands of Twang for now. It's more likely going to look for a pass here in a second. Over to Martin. Martin will send it over to his teammate, but no, in fact, his teammate's distracting the goalie, so he'll just score it right there. Another two-pointer for them, a series of them now as they've scored 3 in a row, and now at this point, this is when they can be fully secured and just focus on defense and focus on, well, yeah, just not letting Telepathy get anything onto the board here with the remaining 2.5 minutes.
Well, don't they say the best defense is a good offense?
It's true. It's very true.
So they could also be that much more aggressive. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see no team so far, at least between these two, have that quarterback role. The player who sits back when you're on the attack a little bit to act as like a pivot point. We can throw it back to him and he can try to rotate it around the field in any direction that you do want to use it, so you can set up a really good pass into a goal. But either way, I can't really complain because in the end, Kairos, it's making it work for them, whatever strategy they are using. I think that pass a little bit far ahead of Infinity, unfortunately. And Middleman's going to have some sort of company in just a few seconds. The punch going to try to come in from the backside. Middleman's actually going to get the grab and the clear. And time is starting to run thin.
Good block from Middleman right there. Direct shot. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit trickier to block, and oh, so close from scoring. In fact, we will finally see a goal picked up by Telepathy. They're a bit of overwhelming pressure. Allows for Ducky to sink one in. The goalie from Kairos was coming very close to stopping it. Once again, I think that was Middleman that tries to do that, but unfortunately was unable to get into position in time to predict the disc pass, so he will allow for Telepathy to score. And finally got a bit of competition coming in from the blue side.
I think Twang and Martin are getting too aggressive. They're getting way too cocky because they're trying to defend really far out, which leaves Middleman to himself. If any one of the attackers from Telepathy get behind him, it's an easy punch into a goal. And this kind of like, not necessarily careless, but this aggression can easily be turned on its head, as we just saw Telepathy do right there. Again, a really big forward pass comes in, Twang Pants. It's going to be a 3-on-1. You're almost guaranteed to make this shot, especially if someone punches the goalie. But no, Martin doesn't come in for the punch. Maybe there's miscommunication of a pass potentially coming through. Ducky's going to be punched up now. The disc is going to still be on their side. And not to mention the time is still ticking down.
With currently having possession, will send a pass up top. It's into the hands of Ramus, though, is going to clear it towards midfield. Martin not in the best place to be able to pick that up himself. And actually, excuse me, Middleman not the best place to be able to pick that up himself. So Martin will float in, take it instead off the quick slingshot, and once more send it back over into Telepathy's own territory. That does put it into the hands of Ramus once more, though. So we'll send it further upfield. Now Ducky with possession, tries to pass it towards Infinity. We don't see that pass received too well. Takes a moment to be able to pick it back up, and this obviously allows time for Kairos to set up their own defenses, but still won't matter. Telepathy walks right up to the goal for a second time, and Ducky will be able to secure it. Now it's 6-4, 1 minute left. Telepathy scores at least one more. If it's a three-pointer, they can outright win this round, and with a two-pointer, they can extend it to OT.
Yeah, Kairos is going to need to start to step up here. They need to get aggressive again, and not to mention working together. They can't afford to let another goal go through. I feel like we're going to see them get very aggressive here and look for another 2 points on the board, keep it into that two-score game, that two-score difference. But 58 seconds, you can obviously drag the timeout, but it's really risky because if Telepathy steal it away from you and they score against you, then you're at a tied game or potentially at a loss. Trying to defend that 1-0 lead so far, the best of three. You can see so far Martin III has been pushed up a little bit more aggressively, slowing the pace down, not trying to get as aggressive as they have previously, even baiting Ducky in just to get a good little punch into him. And then Martin comes in from behind. He gets it stolen away from him. Infinity gets the clear. And it's actually a good one. It gets completely across the map. There's no one here to defend against this here, Blue.
They're on the way, however. Number 9 is going to be way too late, sadly. So Telepathy are able to secure yet another goal. Unfortunate, considering they basically had the time for it. They don't try to just go a little bit further range to secure a three-pointer, because that could have set them up for victory here right now. But now they have tied it up. And that is going to take us down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. 30 seconds left. Kairos will once again start with possession. That doesn't mean much considering the quick responses we've been seeing from Telepathy. They need to find another goal here in the next 30 seconds if they want the quick cleanup for the 2-0. Otherwise, there's going to be another 2 minutes added to the clock, and we will reset and go to overtime, where first goal will win, regardless of the team that scores it.
Like how you pointed out that they could have went for 3 there. That actually could have been them taking the lead in the map and potentially taking us to a third. But hey, just scoring 2 just at least forced into overtime potentially is something they were really hoping for, considering time was starting to run thin, and that was probably one of their last opportunities to score. Martin III does get the clear, but the problem is there's no one there to grab it up. Infinity will secure the disc. 10 seconds left to go. If they're going to score, they have to do it now. There's no one in the goal. Martin, you need to get back, son. Ducky, he picks up the disc. 5 seconds left. He has to go for the slam dunk, and he's going to get knocked out. It's not going to land, and that will be an overtime kicking off in only our first series of the day, Blue.
You can see Kairos there at the end getting a little bit scared of that potential goal coming in the last couple of seconds. They put a second man inside of the goal just to add full coverage to it, and thankfully that works. One of their players in goal is able to push out, get a bit more aggressive, punch out the aggressor from Telepathy and take him down before he could obviously get too close to be able to score there. So that keeps us tied, and like I said, we're now in overtime. It's a 2-minute clock, but you can basically ignore the clock. It's basically first team to score a goal will now win the round.
Oh, it's a good little pickup by Middleman. Just throw it deep. Oh no, there's actually no one to defend against this. They need to re-grab. You need to pass forward to Martin. They are going to finally be able to get the goal here. You can see 2 defenders there on the bottom hand side of the screen. The shot comes in from below, and Kairos gonna get the score, gonna get the victory, gonna get the 2-0 now and move through to the winner bracket finals.
That's obviously going to be a good boost for Kairos being able to bring it back. But things coming close. Credit to Team Telepathy keeping the match very, very intense towards the end. Turning into a very, it's going to sound negative, but it's not meant that way. Turning into a very annoying team at the end there.
That was really negative, Blue.
Turning into a very
such a jerk.
Turning into a very annoying
trying
team.
To play their best game, and you're sitting here insulting them?
Well, it's annoying in a good way for them.
Yeah.
Because it's annoying for their opponents, basically, is what I was going to go on to say. But yeah, very annoying for their opponents because they were all over them. There was constantly players for Team Telepathy that was on, like the goalies. Martin III could never really get a clean pass off. He always had someone stunning him. I think their success rates with stuns had to be like really good there. Unfortunately, I didn't see the stats before we actually went out of the game, but I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that they easily had like far more stuns across the board, especially towards the end of it right there, because they just weren't letting Kairos get away with anything they wanted to try and do within the last like 2 minutes of regulation time there.
All right, well, before we do head to a short break, let's take a look at the brackets really quickly and see how they have been updated, because hopefully we have some results from the other semifinal that was happening at the exact same time. Because obviously now, Kairos moving forward, they need to look towards their next opponent. Do they have any experience against them? Do they have any tape on them to look at? Do they have any opportunity to look at like how they played in the past and how they can prepare for the match in particular? And then of course for Telepathy, they need to see who they're playing in the lower bracket, because one more loss for them and they're going to have 0 chance of getting through into the regionals.
And the team that they will we'll be playing against, by the way, in the case of Kairos, is now we can take a look at that. It's going to be either Leftovers or Smash Dash. Smash Dash being a team that we've seen play in some of the stage finals, unfortunately getting knocked out pretty quickly for the one we had played on Sunday. So I'm not sure how exactly that match versus the Leftovers is going to work out for them, but it'll be one of those two teams that they'll face off against in a little bit here once that match is complete.
All right, well, you know what, Blue? I think it's going to be time in just a few seconds. Actually, no, let's take a look at the lower bracket really quickly just so you guys can see who Telepathy will be up against. I mean, the thing is, as you mentioned, they didn't look terrible against Kairos. They definitely started to wake up as the series did go on. But they'll be up against Bowtie Boys for their chance to get to loser final. So they're technically still 2 wins away from getting through into the regionals. But that is going to have to wait for now because, guys, we do unfortunately have to go to a short break while we set up our next match. But this has been the VR League here in Cologne, Germany, brought to you by ESL and Intel. And we'll see you guys in a few minutes.